Right, gents, it is a pleasant Thursday afternoon down in the old Greenock town. I'm sitting in my kitchen with my computer booted up. You're seeing the screen just now. I'm using software to capture the screen. I've got the interface, the wee Akai, I've got a mic, a few cables, and all set up here. So what we're going to do is we're going to start giving you some tutorial videos to help you with the procedures and operation of Pro Tools in it. Basically, these will be here for you to use whenever you want, and there'll be 5-minute clips of all the different functions, and you can just go exactly to the one you need. You might have forgot something, you might just have, you might need a wee refresher on a few things. You might not need many of them at all, depending on how much you picked up in class, but I'm just going to give you just now to give you some resources that could help you so we can get these radio shows wrapped up and up to a good level by the time we finish. We've only got about 3 weeks left, so here we go. Back up your screen here. Let's just talk you through. I'm going to go right back to the beginning. You've probably used these procedures a lot, so you might not need this, but I'm going to go back to start for anybody who's missed it or is struggling, just to give you the way to approach it. I'm going to go into my dock here, and I'm going to go to the Pro Tools symbol, and I'm going to click the Pro Tools symbol to boot up Pro Tools. Pro Tools is quite fully loaded with plugins and stuff, so just give it a wee minute. Make sure you've got your iLock plugged in. Get the iLock from me and Gary, so the iLock should be plugged into the USB slot in the computer so Pro Tools works. A quick start window will come up. You've got 3 options here. The one you want to select if you're going to start a new project is create a blank session. If you've got a session you've worked on before and it's on the computer here, you can open it from this menu here. But I've not got any on the computer, so it's not going to let me just now. So I'm going to go to the create a blank session one. See, when you go to the create a blank session option and you click on it, before you click OK, go to this session parameters option and press the wee arrow. Now, this stuff here, I don't need you to understand, because a lot of it's kind of stuff that we just don't need at this level. Audio file types and all that, just leave it at British WAV file, just leave it at that, that's fine. I want you to select 24-bit, make sure 24-bit selected. I want you to make sure the sample rate is 44.1. Now, again, you don't need to know anything about this. We'll teach this later on when you get into maybe 4th year and do a bit of digital audio theory and stuff. But see, just now, don't need to worry about that. Just I want you to make sure you've got that selected. 24-bit. Mine's greyed out because I've got the Akai interface connected, but see if yours isn't greyed out, make sure you've got 44.1 selected for me, will you? So it can work with the Akai interface. And the last thing I want you to do is see this wee I/O settings bit. Click on that. You've got multiple different options here. I want you to make sure you're selected the Akai one, because that's the interface we're using, obviously. And I want Pro Tools to understand that it's Akai one we're using and use the settings for it, okay? So that's it. Do that and press OK. Name it. I'm going to name this tutorial Demo. I'm going to make sure I select the desktop just now to save it to. You can select documents if you want as well, it's up to yourself. But I'm going to just select desktop and call it tutorial demo and save it. Pro Tools boots up. I've got 2 windows in Pro Tools now. If I just move these out the way a wee bit, you can see here there's a folder. If I click on this folder, this is a Pro Tools folder that has everything in it. And this is what I want you to use when you're saving it to memory stick or dragging it to the wee wireless hard drive we've got in the class. This is what you want to be working with, the folder. The folder has got all the elements in it that the Pro Tools session needs. It's got the wee Pro Tools file here, and it's got the audio files folder where all the audio files were put, and it's got video files folder as well if we get any video clips. These 3 things, the Pro Tools file, the audio file folder, and the video files folder, these are all the things that the Pro Tools session needs to work. So, the folder, lads, is the big thing here. You want to make sure this is what you're working from when you're saving the stuff, right? We'll do that later on. 2 windows. Mix window, edit window. How do you flick between both of them? Well, always make sure before you even start, go up to the wee green apple, the green button bit here at the top, and press it. Make sure the window takes up the full screen, because you've only got a 15-inch screen here. So make sure you press the wee green button here to make sure that the edit window and mix window take up the full screen. I'm going to go to the mix window by going up to window here and selecting mix. I'm going to do exactly the same thing. That's how you flip between two windows, by going to this wide window menu and going to mix and edit. But see, to be honest with you, that's quite footery. I will just go to the wee command button on the keyboard next to the space bar. I'm going to hold that down and I'm going to go up to the Apple and equals key on the top right hand corner. I'm going to press that. And see, by just holding the command button down and pressing Apple and equals, I can flip between the two windows nice and quickly. And that's a much better shortcut. Alright. Now I've got the edit window on display here. We're going to start here. Other thing I want to just talk to you about before we start getting into things is how it looks. You might find when you open your Pro Tools up and you create your session that you've got this kind of thing on the go. You've got this wee sidebar up and you've got this wee sidebar up. Depends how it was last set up and last used. This is quite handy, these wee sidebars, because you've got here and this sidebar here, all your tracks will be listed. So we see when you create tracks, they'll all be listed here. And with this wee sidebar, you can show and hide them and stuff like that. That's really handy for later on. All the groups I'll create later on. We'll not really work with groups too much, but that's where the groups would be. And over here is where all the audio clips would be. Any audio I've recorded, any audio I've brought in will all be here. And that means I can drag them onto the session and start working with them. These are great things, but see just now, I don't want to see them. So see the wee arrow down the left hand corner? Just click on that. And you can show and hide them whenever you want. I want to hide them just now, so I'm going to just click on that to make sure it's hidden. And see here, I'm going to do exactly the same. This wee arrow, click on it, and it means I've now got the full edit window to look at that I much prefer. Another thing to do is your zoom. See, to zoom in, you've got a timeline here. Now what this timeline is here, you can see my cursor, that shows you the time it's passed. Now what you can do here, lads, is you've got a wee bar down the bottom and you can drag and go along the timeline. Now to zoom, you've got two wee arrows here, up in the top left hand corner. You've got a wee zoom button here, and you've got a wee zoom button there. And what you can do is by pressing them, I can press this button here to zoom right in and really look at something really close up. Or I can press that button, the wee one on the left, and that will zoom out. So there's your zoom in button and zoom out button there, just to kind of get it the way you want. Or another wee shortcut, see if you hold Apple or the wee command button down we spoke about before, and see the wee brackets next to the return key, or basically next to the letter P. There's wee brackets there. They're a quick way to zoom in and zoom out as well. The right bracket will zoom right in, and the left bracket will zoom right out. Okay, so that's my wee shortcut that I like using. The wee command button and the wee brackets next to the letter P are a quick shortcut to zoom in and zoom out. So you get that set up the way you like, and then we're going to create a track. How do you create a track? Track, new. Pretty simple. Few options here. You can create as many as you want at one time. Two options here, right from the get-go, is do you want to create a mono track or a stereo track? Just now, lads, you're going to create most of the mono tracks. Stereo tracks are created when you want to maybe create tracks that are going to have CD audio on them, or MP3s on them, or you're going to record keyboards and stuff like that. I've got a stereo output. But just now, mono is all we need for recording mics and stuff, okay? Here, a few different options here of different types of tracks. We'll go into these different types of track later on. Just now, audio tracks when I want to select. Samples and text, don't worry about that. Just keep it as samples. That's something we don't need to know about just now. I'm going to press create. Now, I've got it created. Got a track ready to go here. What do I do with it? Awful small, isn't it? See if you just put your wee cursor just at the bottom, you can drag and make that track any height you want. So that's my first option to change its size. Or I can go to the wee ruler and I can actually change it that way by just selecting one of the options here. But I usually use that quite a lot because that gives me a lot of flexibility just to get it the exact height I want. Okay. Another thing you can do if you want, see by double clicking on the colour, you can actually create the colour of the track as well. And that means you can actually use colours to indicate tracks that are quite similar in terms of their nature. If it's vocal tracks or guitar tracks and stuff, you can give them a certain colour. Okay, but that's just something that we can do later on. Now what? I want you to name it. See, once you've got a track, I want you to name it. Double click on it, and I would like you to name it. I'm going to call it mic 1 because I'm going to record a mic. Call it anything you like, but make sure you name it straight away because it's pretty important. Because any audio you record on it will need to be stamped with that name so I can find it later on. Alright, now I've done that and I'm pretty happy here. I'm going to start setting the the track up for the interface. So I'll get that in the next tutorial. So I'll see you in a minute.